Morning, it's Thursday, Parshas Meketz, the fifth day of Hanukkah, and I wanted to point something out. In Parshas Vayeshev, we talk what Vayeshev. Remember the Parsha? It didn't happen that long ago. Vayeshev means, literally, it also means to sit. Shev means to sit. It would be helpful if maybe you want me, if I got you Hebrew dictionaries, some basic words in Hebrew you should familiarize yourself, like to talk, to sit, to drink, to eat, open, close, yes, no. So Vayeshev, the root word, most of the Hebrew language, I'd say 90% of the Hebrew language, you can narrow it down to two letters as the root word. Okay?
I thought it was three. It's two letters?
It's two letters. It's two letters. Okay. The three-letter word, you can also, I get it that it's only two letters. Okay? But certainly, like words like Vayeshev, the Vav in the beginning, here's the Vav.
Right, it's and.
Vav means and. Mm-hmm. The Yud really means in the first person that he said, Mm-hmm. And Shev, Shin Vez, means to sit.
And he said to sit.
What?
And he said to sit.
And he what?
And he said to sit.
No, nothing to do with the word said.
Oh, I was thinking to sit.
And he said.
And he said.
Vayeshev means and he said, but the two-letter Shev also means to sit. Anyway, the struggle between Yaakov and Esav is who was to get first position, right? Mm-hmm. And I heard a cute word. I may have said this, that when Rivka was pregnant and she was having a lot of pains, because they were each fighting to go out. Everybody wanted to be the firstborn, But and then it says Vayelech lidros Hashem, and then she went to the yeshiva to figure out what is all this about. And the Torah says that basically she didn't know she was having twins, so she went to the yeshiva of Shem Ve'ever, and she was told that she has twins, and that the younger one was going to be the boss, and the older one was going to be subservient to the older one. So how did that solve the problem? It solved the problem because now they stopped fighting. Nobody wanted to come out first because the one who came out second would be the boss. But that concept really in Yiddishkeit, we always have to strive to do our best. And Avis Rent-A-Car used to have a slogan, "We try harder," and Hertz was number one. So there's nothing wrong with striving to be number one. Chances are most of the times you won't wind up number one, but if you don't have a goal, then you'll never get even close to it. And Rashi says on the Parshas Vayeshev that Bikesh Yaakov Leisha B'Shalva. Yaakov wanted to sit. What do you mean he wanted to sit? He wanted to sit and relax. He wanted to go get a cappuccino, relax, maybe go to Bobby's Bistro, have a villa salad.
Not bad.
And the problem is, when you sit and you become lackadaisical, then no good things happen. And the lesson isn't the word Vayeshev. Pay attention to this word Vayeshev. Every one of Yosef had a lot of problems in his life, more than any of the other patriarchs. Every one of his problems is encoded in the word Vayeshev. He had a problem with Yosef, his son, obviously, the major problem. Okay, he had a problem with Dinah, had a problem with Esav, his brother, and he had a problem with Lavan, his father-in-law. If you look at the second letter of every one of those names, Yosef the Vav, Dinah is the Yud, Esav the Shin, Lavan the Vez, you get Vayeshev.
Very cool.
Interesting.
All right? And they didn't even have paper towels then,
Very interesting.
Okay. Okay, so here's the story. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Hanukkah, but I figured since it's Hanukkah is always story time, so we'll tell a story. The story is called Yosela. Now, the way Shlomo Kalbach says it, he says it with a tune and he sings it, and it's really, really very emotional, very inspiring. In fact, I know this person who was from, and then he became not from, and by listening to this story, it turned him back. And many of Shlomo Kalbach's stories had that effect on people. He drew a lot of people closer to Yiddishkeit, and of course he was a very controversial person. And the mainstream from people, some of them, didn't go along with some of his shtick, maybe, But today, the only person ever in the last couple of hundred years that there is a Kalbach Nusach. We have Nusach Ashkenaz, we have Nusach Sfarad, we have Nusach Ari. Now they call it Nusach Kalbach Shabbos. They have his own way of mostly his songs, and there's certainly a lot to be said for somebody like that. He was a Talmud Chacham also. He learned the Lakewood Yeshiva, and actually his first job was in Dorothy, New Jersey, about 20 miles from here. I lived around the corner from him when he had that job. I had no idea who he was, nor did the world know who he was.
There's a callback minyan in Lakewood.
There's Kalbach's minyan throughout the world.
And there's a shul in Manhattan. Yeah.
And there's a shul in Manhattan. That's the Kalbach shul, which he founded. And I spent last Shabbos with the cantor of that shul. He was in Staten Island as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the way the story goes. There's a grave, and this gentleman over here today